They say, and I truly believe, that what we think about, we manifest. So have you been dreaming of manifesting a side hustle that brings in extra income to you and your family? Have you been thinking of all the things you're gonna buy with all the money you're gonna be making with your side gig? Maybe you've been imagining what it would feel like to be an entrepreneur or hear cha-ching on your phone while you do your daily activities. Or are you focused on all the things that could go wrong, on how it won't work for you, that you probably won't get results like other people do, or that it's probably not worth trying for? If you manifest what you think about, then what are you manifesting with those kinds of thoughts? Here's the deal. If you want to see success and finally start making more money through a side hustle, you're going to want to know how your brain is wired. Because the reason you aren't manifesting your biggest dreams and actually starting a side hustle is because of your brain. Let's break it down. You have two areas of the brain, the conscious and unconscious, or subconscious if you want to call it that. The subconscious mind stores and retrieves data. It's the part of the brain that notices and remembers information when you're not actively trying to do something. It's in charge of making sure your whole body lives to see another day. It makes sure your heart is beating and your lungs are working so that you don't have to actively think about doing it. Have you ever thought about how you don't have to actively think about breathing or your heart beating or healing that scab on your arm or the zit you popped last week? Your subconscious mind or unconscious does it all for you. The subconscious mind is the part of your mind that's responsible for logic and reasoning. So if I ask you how much money you'll need this month to pay for your daughter's gymnastics class, that's your conscious mind that's going to do the math. As you learn how to do things consciously, you store your learnings in your unconscious mind so they become automated and you don't have to think so hard about doing them. For example, can you remember the first time you dried your hair? It's a disaster. You hit yourself in the head with the hair dryer, you don't know what you're doing with the brush. It's crazy, right? But now, of course, it's automated now that we've been doing it for so long. Or think about your first time that you were driving. I can't even tell you how awkward and crazy it was to drive with my parents during that time. But thank goodness all of those things are now automated, right? I don't have to think about doing them because I've programmed them into my subconscious mind. So here's the thing. When you're first born, you have a completely unprogrammed subconscious mind. You don't have preconceived notions about anything. You're just one big open bucket. However, in the first few years of our lives, our brains get programmed by observing the people in our immediate environment. For example, our parents, our teachers, and our siblings. Kids learn what's acceptable and what's not acceptable in terms of social behaviors and what's the general rule of, households and schools and churches and even nations. So over the first 6 to 7 years of our lives, our subconscious minds are soaking up everything around us. And then guess what happens? You reach about 7 years old, which is how old my daughter is, by the way, right now, and your bucket gets completely sealed shut and your brain is just programmed for life. Now, this is great for things that serve us, so we don't have to work as hard. Our brain doesn't have to use as much energy to do these things. But what about all the other things that we learned as kids that might not be serving us? And the thing is, our unconscious mind actually controls 95% of our behavior, thoughts, and beliefs that we have throughout our day. So 95% of what we do every single day is based off of what we learned so long ago. What does this have to do with starting a side hustle? What have you been saying in your head since you were young about how capable you are, how smart you are, and what's possible for you? Are you saying things like, I'm not smart enough to run a business. I'm not really a lucky person. Nothing ever works out for me. Every time I try something, I fail. I'm not good at business stuff. These thoughts are the reasons you haven't started your side hustle. They come from beliefs that were programmed from an early age and are sabotaging you from reaching success. And if you disagree with me, I'd love to hear your excuse below in the comments so we can chat about them. How do you get rid of these thoughts so you can actually make progress and start? Well, it's a process. But the first step in the process is becoming aware that they actually exist. And now that you know, you're one step ahead of most people. Are you ready to overcome these automated thoughts and actually start a side hustle? If so, I believe that creating and selling printables is hands down the best way to use your creative skills to make passive income. And it's the best side hustle. So if you're interested, but you don't know what kinds of printables to sell, I'd like to invite you to my free training, the Nail Your Printables Niche Workshop. shop. This is where you're gonna figure out what printables are right for you. So if you've been saying things like, I have a million ideas, I have so many things I wanna do, or maybe you're saying, I have no ideas, I don't know what to start with. Either way, this training is for you and it's going to help you get started. So head over to atouchofla.com/niche and take the free training today. I hope this video was helpful to you and I hope to see you in the next video.